University in my district. And the testimony you're about to give is true and correct to the best of your knowledge, information, and belief. So help you God.
Indictments contain allegations, and every defendant. First, our investigation found that the Russian government interfered in our election in sweeping and systematic fashion. Second, the investigation did not establish that members of the Trump campaign conspired with the Russian government in its election interference activities. We did not address collusion, which is not a legal term. Rather, we focused on whether the evidence was sufficient to charge any member of the campaign with taking part in a criminal conspiracy, and it was not. But there are certain points that bear emphasis. Based on Justice Department policy and principles of fairness, we decided we would not make a determination as to whether the president committed a crime. That was our decision then, and it remains our decision today. As expeditiously as possible. And let me say one more thing. Over the course of my career, I have seen a number of challenges to our democracy. The Russian government's effort to interfere in our election is among the most serious. And as I said on May 29th, this deserves the attention of every American. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Director Mueller, the President has repeatedly claimed that your report found there was no obstruction and that it completely and totally exonerated him. But that is not what your report said, is it?
Correct. It is not what the report said.
And now, reading from page 2 of volume 2 of your report that's on the screen, you wrote, quote, "If we had confidence after a thorough investigation of the facts that the President clearly did not commit obstruction of justice, we would so state. Based on the facts and the applicable legal standards, however, we are unable to reach that judgment," close quote. Now, does that say there was no obstruction?
No.
That if you had concluded that the President committed the crime of obstruction, you could not publicly state that in your report or here today?
Well, I would say the statement would be that you would not indict, and you would not indict because under the OLC opinion, a sitting president, excuse me, cannot be indicted.
You also note in the report that an element of any of those obstructions you referenced requires a corrupt state of mind, correct?
Corrupt intent.
Right. And if somebody knows they did not conspire with anybody from Russia to affect the election, and they see the big Justice Department with people that hate that person coming after them, and then a special counsel appointed who hires dozen or more people that hate that person, and he knows he's innocent. He's not corruptly acting in order to see that justice is done. What he's doing is not obstructing justice. He is pursuing justice. And the fact that you ran it out 2 years means you perpetuated injustice.
I take your
Gentleman's
question.
time has expired. The witness may answer the question.
You found evidence, as you lay out in your report, that the president wanted to fire you because you were investigating him for obstruction of justice. Isn't that correct?
That's what it says in the report, yes. And I stand behind the report.
Could you charge the president with a crime after he left office?
Yes.
The gentleman from Louisiana, Mr.
And I'd like to ask you, the reason, again, that you did not indict Donald Trump is because of OLC opinion stating that you cannot indict a sitting president, correct?
That is correct.
Fair enough. Second, the Russians went on a sweeping
Largely public. As you know, I made a few limited.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give at this hearing is the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
I want to go back to one thing that was said this morning by Mr. Liu, who said, and I quote, "You didn't charge the president because of the OLC opinion." That is not the correct way to say it, As we say in the report, and as I said at the opening, we did not reach a determination as to whether the president committed a crime.
And when Donald Trump called your investigation a witch hunt, that was also false, was it not?
I'd like to think so, yes.
When the president said the Russian interference was a hoax, that was false, wasn't it? Ranking Member Nunes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Welcome, everyone, to the last gasp of the Russia collusion conspiracy theory. Brazenly ignoring all these red flags, as well as the transparent absurdity of the claims they are making. And now that Mr. Mueller is here, they are claiming that the collusion has actually been in his report all along, hidden in plain sight. And they're right. There is collusion in plain sight. Collusion between Russia and the Democratic Party.
Thanks. Why didn't you subpoena the president?
If we did subpoena the president, he would fight the subpoena, and we would be in the midst of the investigation for a substantial period of time.
Right, but what did you think of the president's written responses, Mr. Mueller?
It's certainly not as useful as the interview would be.
Director Mueller, thank you again for being here today. And before I adjourn, I would like to excuse you and Mr. Zebley.